Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay, so we are at verse 13 of chapter 2, Valli 5 in mine, but sometimes it's saying Valli 2. What is the page number?
254.
254. Okay, whoever has the book. So we did verse 12, and he was talking about Atma or Paramatma, one ruler, the soul of all beings who makes his one form manifold, because it has, we saw that how it has a capacity, the power to take one and make into manifold, and it continuously keep changing. And but those wise men who perceive him as existing in their own self, Dhira Purush they called it, so उन्हीं को वो happiness मिल सकती है, eternal happiness, because we were talked about it, that fleeting happiness and joys of the world, yeah, you can get it with the objects, but it's not going to be eternal. It always turns into pain. If you want eternal happiness, then the Dhira Purush who know this very, very well, established in that knowledge, they are the one who going to get it. And no one else. Means, उन्होंने इतना ठोक बजा के बोल दिया, no one else. So कोई doubt ही नहीं होना चाहिए. That whatever we talked about, like earlier, that happiness in the world, it's not there, no matter how much you argue about it and say that I'm going to get it. It's not going to happen. According to the Shastras. Now you have to have a Shraddha in it. So now the similar verse is coming, but he's talking about Shanti now. Because Sukh, Shanti, we need both. And they go together kind of. They are again complementary to each other. You cannot have one without the other. So he's talking about Shanti. And let's see what this verse is, verse 13. Nityo anityanam chetana chetananam eko bahunanam yo vidyadhyati kaman tam atmastham yenu pashyanti dhiraha tesham shanti shashvati netaresham. Nitya is eternal, anityanam, among the non-eternal, and we'll see this term, what did he mean by it. Chetana is intelligence, Chetananam, among the intelligent. So he is the intelligence among all the intelligent people, and he is the eternal among the non-eternal, and we'll see what he means. Ekaha, we know one only. There's one Brahman. Bahunanam, of many. Yaha, who. Vidadhati is fulfills. Kaman, desires. So here he's saying that it fulfills the desire, but you have to say it in the right context. Tama is him. Atmastham, dwelling in their own self. Ye is those. Anupashyanti, perceives. Dhiraha, again the word dhira has come, the wise men. Tesham, to them. See, this dhira word is so important because जिसको धीर बोलते हैं ना, जिसमें बहुत पेशेंस हो. Again, it telling you the same thing. Nothing is going to happen immediately. So you have to have a lot of patience. To them, Shanti is peace. Shashvati is eternal. So that word has come from the previous same. Itaresham, no, to none else. So ये शांति भी उसी को मिल सकती है जो इस बात को अच्छे से जानता है, नहीं तो नहीं मिलेगी शांति. So that's what he's talking about. Let's see what Tejamananji has few points. So he's saying that same Atma that they were talking about previously, that there is one Atma, that it one and it makes many. Here what they are talking about is that that Atma Tattva, he's unchanging among the changing things. That's what it's saying. So, best way I'll say, the way I do it with the 10th graders, because that really works. So I usually will tell them, look at this world around you. And I challenge them that everything that you can see from your perceive from your five senses, it is changing thing. And whether it is my own body, whether it's my mind, or any object outside, or the moons, or the stars, or anything that I perceive, nothing is constant. Because everybody on this class agrees with that's true. And if you don't, then come up with something, and we can analyze it. So it is a completely in flux, they call it, constantly changing. But there is a scientific law that for something to change, you need an unchanging substratum. Without that, it is not possible. So what the examples are of that in the world is, for the ocean to be the ocean, you need the ocean bed, has to be there. Or like, even you can say that all the waves and all are on the top, but the deep inside is all shant and all that, the substratum. Upar se sab hangama ho raha hai, right? Or like for a car to move, you need a steady road. For the plane to fly, you need sky. So some unchanging thing where it can move. So if you go by that law, if everything is changing in everywhere, there has to be a substratum, unchanging thing. And they are saying that this is that unchanging thing. That's what they're talking about. Nityo anityanam. Among all the changing thing, it is a non-changing, nitya. That's what we have to remember. And by saying the word nitya, there is another very deep meaning. It's like forever. That's why that eternal comes. It's not only the substratum, but it also forever kind of thing. And the other thing is chetan and achetana naam. Means jitni bhi cheeze hai na, that is comes under matter. There is a spirit and matter. The one time Meena ji and I were having that discussion, right? That there is a spirit or energy, but I said don't call it energy, because energy in the Vedanta is actually part of matter only. Energy and matter can interchange. Matter can become energy, but the consciousness is separate from it. Consciousness is the one that gives power to these two, energy and matter. So that's how we have to shift our thinking now. So that's what it is. So everything that worldly things is, whatever we talked about, that we can grasp by five senses, they come under the realm of matter only, including our minds. Our mind is made up of subtle matter, but it also matter. But we also know that our body also feels sentient to us, right? Body feels alive. Our mind feels alive, body feels alive, senses feel alive. That alive factor is coming from that consciousness that is making us. And we know that's why this body is functioning so beautifully. And a live person, as long as we bathe every day and all, we are all shiny, clean and all that, according to our age, of course. With our wrinkles, we have to include it. But a dead body disintegrates so fast. Consciousness connection is gone. That's why. So that's how we have to see that this chetana jo bol rahe hain na, life usme se aati hai, that is coming from that. So these two words over here, another one, chetana naam, among isme na intelligence, among the intelligent. You can look at it both ways. So हमारा जो intelligence है वो भी वो consciousness से आ रहा है. So it does one more thing. थोड़ा सा हमारा ego थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. Because oh, that person is so intelligent, my God. Hey, where is it coming from? You did not create that intelligence. It's a gift coming. Be thankful. So that's what it is. Those are the two words. And then he gave a worldly example. He's saying that there is water. Suppose hot water, मैंने हाथ डाल दिया. मेरा हाथ जल गया, whatever. I know that water, उसका nature नहीं है hot. Heat कहीं और से आया है उसका. So the same way, body is inert, but that life has come from that consciousness. So that's what he's talking about. That particular factor that ekaha, it's alone in all the so many different things. And then the other thing it talks about it said it fulfills all your desires. So on the surface of it, this statement looks like, oh, if I desire something, God will fulfill it like that, huh? That's not what it means. A law of karma it's talking about. Because desire fulfill करने के लिए भी थोड़ा काम करना पड़ता है, right? If you do certain thing, yeah, you will get the result. Basically, that's what it is. Law of karma is mentioned through this. And he's saying that this is, law of karma is a big scope of it. And Krishna Bhagwan ne pehle bol diya, complete scope, we are not capable of understanding it because it's a very vast thing. But, whatever we can understand. And also we should not forget what we learned about, in the previous verses when he said that, hey, how does this subtle body move to another body? And it said, yatha karma yatha shrutam. Remember, we did that. So, according to your action and according to your knowledge. So that action and all, that is a law of karma. So what Tejamananji was explaining, which was very important, because sometime, I was having that difficulty. I was talking to somebody about it, and they asked some question about, hey, firstly reincarnation mein confusion tha. Okay, reincarnation hota hai. How does this person take birth with this all previous? Where karmas kahan par hain? So Tejo Maharaj was explaining, he's saying कि संस्कृत में एक word है, अनायास होता है ये, effortlessly. So when a jiva exits the body, everything happens. There is a whole system. We may not understand that system, but that package is there, anayas, that effortless. Nobody has to go and look at a file. कि भाई, this is उमा का file, जरा देखो खोल के क्या क्या किया क्या नहीं किया and all that. नहीं उसका है already साथ में, चल रहा है साथ में, और next life में भी जाएगा साथ में. That's what he meant. That whole package happens very naturally, automatically, effortlessly. Nobody needs to look at a file because the file mix up, worldly जगह में होता है file fix up. False identity, एक जन ने crime किया दूसरे को पकड़ लिया. Nature में ऐसा नहीं होता है. So rest assured, no mistake in God's math. Effortlessly and all that. So when he say fulfill the desire of all means, law of karma is there. The system is there. That's what he was talking about. And he was saying that the wise person who understands all this very nicely, he's the one, he is entitled to, not only entitled, he's the one usko shanti milegi. Okay? So that's what he's talking about. और शांति इसलिए भी मिलेगी when you know a system is a very tight system, then you don't have to worry about I can manipulate it or something. I was just thinking about it that people will say, oh, गंगा में नहाने से ना सारे पाप धुल जाएंगे, because we think that there is a crack in the system. I will go there, I will, yeah, what actually Ganga Snan does it gives you a fresh start. That's all that they mean by कि सारे पाप धुल जाएंगे. You will not do more pap in the future. That's all they're saying. It doesn't mean कि तुमने जो किया उसका result नहीं मिलेगा तुमको, अरे पवित्र होके निकल गए. No, not like that. Because it's a tight system, so you're just okay. I just surrender to it. That can be another meaning of this person, dhira, So उसको ये मिलती है. And then he was reminding, Tejomanan, he was reminding that all these concepts we have already come in the Bhagavad Gita also. Because usually people study Bhagavad Gita first, that it already said कि शांति is the person जिसकी बहुत सारी desire होती है ना, उसको कभी शांति नहीं मिल सकती. Constantly लगे ही रहो, waiting list चालू है. से 2 desire पूरी हुई, 6 की waiting list चालू है कि ये पूरा होना है. That person cannot get a shanti. So he's saying that, this, and there is another verse that we have already done, that the person who is ashant, उसको सुख कैसे मिल सकता है. ये वाला verse already आ चुका है. I think one of the chapter 3, 4, 5 में से किसी में, I don't know exact one, I don't remember. So sukh and shanti go together. And that's why I was telling that वो जो थाईलैंड से आया था एक पोस्ट डॉग, उसका नाम था सुख शांति. उसका नाम बहुत अच्छा लगता था. मैंने इंडिया में नहीं सुना है ना. सुखी राम है और शांति है, लेकिन दोनों का साथ में मैंने पहली बार नाम सुना, सुख शांति. It's such a beautiful name. Because Sukh and Shanti, they go together, and these two verses talk about it. And then only we can, get some peace. And then Tejo Menanji was just reminding again that whenever desires are fulfilled, whatever Sukh and Shanti we get is very temporary. So, but here Shashwati Shanti bola na, that's the main thing. He's saying even by getting some sleep, you can get some Shanti. But those are all, if you are very agitated, थोड़ा सो जाओ तो शांति मिलती है, फिर उठ के फिर वही चीज़ याद करो, फिर अशांत हो जाता है आदमी. शाश्वती नहीं है वो. So he's saying that कोई सो गया थोड़ी देर के लिए, थोड़ा शांत हो गया, फिर उठो, उसको पूछो कि अभी क्या हाल है, तो बोलेगा क्या बताएं, और शुरू हो जाएगा. So he also jokes about all these things. So he's saying that more and more we go after the worldly things and more we struggle, it only remains a struggle. You do not get a Sukh and Shanti. Then he reminded that actually it is there in you. Your own Swaroop is there and you forget it. And he's saying you yourself keep yourself away from it. We never think about it that way. Nobody else is doing that to us. We are keeping ourselves away from it because you already have it. And this is what they mean by tam atmastham, jo yahan par jo diya hua hai na, dwelling in your own self. That is the main thing about this. So this is what this verse is talking about. And then in this section, there are just 2 more verses are there. Then this section finishes. But Swamiji is going to mention, we have 15 minutes, we can read, that how this verse has a complete Vedanta is in this verse. Because talked about karma, talked about anitya, nitya, and talk about who gets the shanti. According to them, it's a very significant verse, this one. Any question, comment, or anybody wants to add anything? I think we got enough dose from Bhagavad Gita also, right? That's on the same lines. Okay, any volunteers to read? Ashaji, you gonna read? I guess not. Anilji can read it then. I was not sure if Ashaji was gonna read.
No, that's okay. Fine. That's him.
Okay.
He, the eternal among non-eternals, the intelligence in the intelligent, who, though one, fulfills the desires of many, those wise men who perceive him as dwelling in their own self, to them belongs eternal peace and to none else. So, Umaji, this is basically what he's saying is sort of self-realization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is. He's talking about that. But just to know the fact that that's the only thing that is going to give us the final thing that we are looking for. And that's why in Bhagavad Gita also, when Arjun was full of grief, Krishna Bhagwan ne sabse pehle usko highest gyan diya. Hey, you are not what you think you are.
Yeah.
Right? So same lines. Yeah, true.
The method of assertion and denial adopted by the Shruti in the previous mantra is again repeated here when she reasserts, to them belongs the eternal peace and to none else.
So he's just saying that ये जो उन्होंने नेगेटिव यूज किया है ना कि और किसी को नहीं मिल सकता, ये 2 बार रिपीट हो चुका है. सो वी हैव टू टेक इट वेरी सीरियसली. कभी कभी लगता है नहीं है, लाइक चेजोमैन जी ने ऑलरेडी बोल दिया, द पीपल हु आर वेरी इंडल्जेंट विद द सेंसेस, वो लोग इस बात को नहीं मानेंगे. वो बोलेंगे हाँ कौन कहता है दुनिया में नहीं है, तो उनको रहने दो आराम से, लेट देम डू. बट इफ यू वांट टू कॉन्टेम्पलेट एंड यू वांट समथिंग मोर, देन उनके लिए ये सब.
Is it fair to say that it's like somebody cannot sleep without air conditioning, and then somebody, he doesn't feel the hot or cold, so he can sleep anywhere?
Yes, absolutely. And I tell you, I always feel that Americans are a lot more hardy. I see them like, कितनी भी ठंड होएगी वो लोग अपना शॉर्ट्स पहन के, और उनको लगती नहीं है ठंड वंड, और उल्टा भी खूब गर्मी होएगी एंड दे आर स्टिल डूइंग देयर स्टफ, और हमारी टॉलरेंस का पावर कम है, बिकॉज यहाँ आके हमको थोड़ा लग्जरी में रह रहे कि हम भी बिगड़ गए. So what you said is true.
What is to be realized in us as the self is discussed here, and in the discussion we are provided with enough material to understand intuitively the very nature of the soul, which you will remember was the pointed query of the Brahma seeker Nachiketa to his master Lord Death.
So I just want to ask, is it different, मीना जी, because मेरे में कुछ अलग ही है.
I mean, I have the same as Anil ji.
Okay, I have a very old book, so maybe then it's all right. So there's some commentary they have changed, but doesn't matter. Yeah, go ahead.
We may say that in no mantra in the entire scriptural literature of the Hindus is there a passage equal to the mantra under discussion in its completeness and directness of his statement, touching almost all the important factors that language can express regarding the nature of the soul.
So he's just telling you what I had mentioned already earlier, that this mantra, according to Swamiji, because these are the people who have studied so many Upanishads, so many things, that it has touched upon the most important concepts of Vedanta, all three parts of it. Yeah.
The word is a flux, a constant change of appearances, a transient play of names and forms. Even our physical form is constantly changing hour by hour through all the years of its existence. The medical science of the modern world declares that the constitution of every human body changes completely, as it were, once in every 7 years. At every moment, old cells are dying away and are being replaced by new ones. We come in contact with men and circumstances, and moment to moment, we are ever changing our physical habits, mental makeup, intellectual ideas, and spiritual values. Nobody can stop the process of growth.
So everybody understood this, right? We have this illusion कि I am this. Actually, मैं तो पूरी बदल चुकी हूँ. और our mind भी change होता रहता है. New ideas come. And the very good example is a river. You go and stand near a river, the same water never will be there. But उसको भी हम फिर भी वही river बोलते हैं. Right? So it is an illusion कि भाई वो same ही है. No, it's a constantly changing. The same way he's saying that everything changes. So he's just telling, because sometimes if we don't think about it that way, we don't even know that. We just think everything is same and all. No, it's not.
But because, like it says, when we come in contact with men and circumstances, moment to moment we are changing. So, because we don't want to get influenced by the wrong people and wrong circumstances, knowledge is very important here.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the beginning, like sometimes you have to create that fence around you. If you are getting influenced, then just don't go there and indulge yourself. But once you get strong, then nobody can change your mind anyway.
Right, and that's where, because knowledge gives you the power of discrimination, what is wrong or right.
Right, exactly.
If this constant change were to give us the idea of a continuity, there must be some constant denominator that is ever constant. In the picture house, the ever-changing play of light and shade thrown out from the films gives the audience a sense of continuity because of the constant factor, the screen behind it. Without the screen, the audience would have seen no story at all. Waves, ripples, bubbles, froth, and foam can all have their eternal dance to give us the idea of continuous search only when there is a constant, unchanging, placid depths of the oceans beneath them. The delusory idea of a snake, a rod, a crack in the earth are all possible only when there is the unchanging truth behind it all, the rope.
So he gave 3 different examples. We already know all those examples. You cannot see a movie without a screen. And this example works best with the children. You know, rope शायद वो नहीं मानेंगे, पर उनको बोलो कि हाँ अगर मेरे को मूवी देखनी है तो can I just project it in the sky and see the movie? No, I need a screen, either TV screen or some other wide screen or whatever. So without that unchanging thing you cannot have. And then we know the ocean ka we already discussed that, the ripples and waves and all. You need a deep ocean for it to work. And then यहाँ पर उन्होंने और भी अच्छा example दिया, rope है पड़ी हुई है. Either I can think of it, not think. I may not see the rope, then I might see a crack in the earth, or I might see a rod पड़ा हुआ है, or I might see the snake. All 3 are possible only if there is a rope. If there is no rope, मेरे को कुछ दिखाई नहीं देगा. So that substratum is the most important thing, and that's what that Brahman is.
One question I want to ask you, Maji. When I'm meditating, many times it helps me to put myself behind the screen.
Yeah,
Let it
and
all play, you know.
That's a very good technique. There is absolutely whatever works for sure, because you know, right? Now you have studied so many different things, and if that techniques it connects you to the Vedanta and you know what you're thinking and all that, then it is great. You know? Yeah, definitely.
Similarly, no word of flux could be possible without a base that is unchangeable and unchanging. No river can flow without a bed.
So ये स्वामी जी ने और एक दे दिया जोर से, you know. बाकी सोचो ना, रिवर का सबको मालूम है.
So the consciousness in us works through our karmas, right?
See, consciousness just gives power. That जो working of karma, that is a part of the nature. उन्होंने एक system बनाया हुआ है कि भाई ऐसे होएगा. लेकिन जो लोग consciousness से जुड़ जाते हैं ना, उनको कर्मा फिर टच नहीं करता है, in a sense they don't get affected by it. जैसे see हमारा प्रॉब्लम क्या है, कुछ बुरा हो जाता है तो हम लोग एकदम my God, we start falling apart and trying to fix things and all that. वो fix भी नहीं करने को try करेगा. It's own, you know, I'm not saying from that perspective he might fix it from the vyavaric sense, but he's not going to go overboard, because he will look at it as a part of the nature. Like, I think one example that Swamiji gave somewhere was a very good one. I'm trying to think. You know, when a sports guy plays a sport, right, there are certain risks involved. उसको चोट लगती है, उसको ये लगता है. पर कई बार हमने देखा है, मैं तो इतना स्पोर्ट्स देखती नहीं हूँ, मगर किसी को चोट लगी ना, फिर भी वो खेलता जा रहा है. Because he looks as a part of it. You know, like something like that happens to these people who get established in the higher self. You know, like some of the saints and sages, उनको कैंसर वगैरह हो गया and all that. बोले उनके जो चेले थे ना, वो बोले ये ट्रीटमेंट करो, वो ट्रीटमेंट करो, वो करवा भी लेंगे, ऐसा बात नहीं है. They are not concerned about it, because they are looking at it as hey, this is my body, it's going to go, and this is its prarabdha, and that's it. You know? So...
And then most of the times, because I knew one person who was very spiritual, and then he developed cancer, and he said, I don't feel the pain.
Because he is established in the higher self. So it's like he's dancing to a different tune. That's why. और अगर उसको होता भी होगा ना, तो वो dwell नहीं करता उसमें, इसलिए उसको नहीं होता है. ऐसा हम, because it's hard to imagine कि बिल्कुल ही नहीं होगा, नहीं होगा उसको, लेकिन हम लोग जैसे बह जाते हैं पेन में वगैरह वगैरह, you know, वो उसकी वजह से कम होता है. Yeah.
Chetnas, Chetnanam, intelligence in the intelligent. Again, if a piece of iron burns your fingers, you know that the iron has no heat of its own, and so must have borrowed it from fire. Similarly, if the body, mind, intellect, equipment, which is itself nothing but matter, shows at moments an intelligence almost divine, we can easily presume that it has earned its intelligence from the self, which is of the pure nature of pure intelligence.
So basically, same thing that we had discussed before, that the body, mind, intellect, equipment is inert. And when it's looking alive, it has intelligence and all, everything is borrowed from that higher. It's like electricity is going through the computer, everything is getting energized in it. All different parts of it.
Vidadhati Kaman.
Kaman.
Who fulfills the desires of man. Here again the law of karma is obviously hinted at in a broad statement that the self or the supreme consciousness is the power behind the law of karma, according to which each individual comes to live his allotted share of experiences in his individual life.
So, we don't think about it that way, but like there are other laws of nature that we have no problem in accepting, like law of gravity or light का speed, फलाना दिख रहा है, ये वो जितने भी हजार चीजें हैं, एक बार ये this is a law. कोई पूछेगा किसने बनाया, क्या किया, मेरे को नहीं मालूम, but I know this. Right? Same way there is a law of karma. So then when people who say, oh, law of karma doesn't exist, no, it does, because it is exactly like that law of gravity. It's pretty tight. We may not understand it, but it is in place at that level.
The one who is thus eternal and of the nature of pure intelligence, and who is the force behind the immutable law of karma, is not a mere transcendental vitality divine who reigns somewhere in heavens like the mortal king or the president of a country dwelling in the capital, far away from the villages along the frontiers. Vedanta is the highest achievement of man's wisdom.
So basically what he's trying to say कि ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई डंडा लेके वहाँ पे बैठा हुआ है, कहीं भगवान की भाई इसको ये दो फल, उसको वो दो फल, ऐसा वैसा. It's inherent in the whole thing. Just like I was saying, the law of gravity, law of this, it's like anayas, like he said. It is effortlessly, it's going. And the people, I think that one of the main thing is that when something bad happens to us, we always immediately point the finger, right? As somebody who did this to me. But a person who is dhira will say, this is part of the karma. Let it full continue. Because, whatever I'm getting it, I may have done something. That surrender comes.
If somebody is doing something bad to you, you have to say that is not his fault. That is, he's acting his role out.
Right, exactly. So, itna wisdom kisi ko aa jaye na, phir usko kisi se. That's why these people don't have animosity with anyone. That's exactly why. But wo itna established hona is very difficult, because the natural tendency is, everybody thinks that I'm Miss Perfect or Mr. Perfect and everybody has a problem. But the truth is that everybody is getting this exchange because of exactly what you said. And then if I want, I can look at it this way, like what our Swamiji used to say, what you get from, in your life is a gift from God. What you do with it is your gift to God. Yeah, So that is another way of talking about law of karma. Hey, whatever I'm getting, whatever I've done, I got it now. But if I want to change something to a better and make it beautiful, then I have to accept it with grace and not repeat the same mistakes or some things like that. Many things are involved in that saying.
The truth declarations of the Rishis represent in themselves the superhuman daring with which they must have plunged into the very womb of life to scoop it and discover for themselves the palpitating soul of one's own life, the true seed of all activities, the permanent and eternal factor behind the ever-changing madness, which in its continuity gives the solid delusion called the Jagat. So
I know this sounds so confusing. All he's saying is all those rishis and all, they are like, the reason they look almost like superhuman because they went so deep into in the research, or बोलते हैं ना कि अपना आत्म साक्षात्कार के लिए या diving within their own self to find this permanent factor and what is the nature of it and all that. ये उनका research है, and but it is such an amazing thing that is a constant factor. But there's ever-changing world around us. It's exactly opposite. Two opposite things, but they are together. And the Jagat, there is another. My teacher used to tell us that jug jo karte hai, jo change hota rehta hai constantly, usko Jagat bolte hai. There is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Naturally, there have never been and there shall never be a textbook more sacred and noble as the Bible of the Hindus, the Upanishads. If some undeveloped and unintelligent foreign intruders have raised the cry of calumny against these mantras as blabberings of a humanity in childhood and so on, we, in our great understanding, shall only repeat what Christ said when he was condemned by a foolish generation. Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do.
So I have a feeling that somebody has made that statement. Some guy that these Upanishads are blabbering of a humanity in their childhood. And Swamiji is answering to that. And this word he used, raised the cry of calumny. I didn't even know what that meant. So I looked in the dictionary. A false and malicious statement designed to injure the reputation of someone. It's calumny. Means it's... Yeah. So there are people who, say, oh yeah, Upanishad mein aise kuch bol diya hai, or, something like that. He's saying all we can say is forgive them. They don't know what they're saying. Because he...
I love the last line,
Yes. Because apne दूसरों को छोड़ो, there are people from India who think like that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They just laugh at it and, it's, oh yeah, nothing, nobody knows and all that. You may not know, but there are people who do, So either you have Shraddha...
For most of them, these are excuses. They just don't want to work at self, period.
Yeah, because they're not convinced that there is anything more. And, इंडिया में किसी ने बोला उनको भी लोग इंडिया में प्रणाम करते हैं उनको चार्वका को ऋषि बोला गया था चार्वकाज आर द वन हे यू डोंट गो कम फ्रॉम एनीवेयर यू डोंट गो एनीवेयर दिस इज अ लाइफ खाओ पियो मजा करो ठीक है सो देन जस्ट लीव देम अलोन एंड लेट देम डू इट I mean sometimes they only come and ask you question hey and when you tell them they say ha sab bakwas hai then why are you asking man I mean if you have bakwas what I'm saying sometimes I wonder why they even come and ask you
yeah.
Because the moment you open your mouth, they will shut you down. So, just let them be where they are. Then don't worry about
it. But just the fact that they are asking you.
There you go.
Yeah.
कुछ doubt है उनमें.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, this is it. Any comment, question? You want to add anything to this profound thing? No? Okay. Okay, then I can close. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschis Dukha Bhag Bhavet Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om